where are we then in this crisis around chips? Fran and I were discussing it's definitely not the end of the story. Are we getting at least close to some kind of resolution?
I think that was the hope late last year when we first learned that the industry was starting to worry about this. There was a concern that the auto industry kind of essentially gave up its spot in line last year when they really had to slash production because of the initial outbreaks of COVID-19. And there was some concern that it'll take some time for them to sort of essentially get their spot back in line, but they would get there. We've now sort of gone through just month after month of setback where we've had issues with extreme weather, we've had fires, we've had more recently outbreaks in Southeast Asia and in Malaysia where there's a lot of testing and packaging that's done. So this is both a sort of an event-driven issue, but also a very structural issue because we're seeing that chips that the auto industry desires are sort of outdated. The chip companies are not necessarily eager to make the investment for outdated technology. So, we're starting to hear more and more from CEOs of the auto industry that this is something that will be with us for months to come and perhaps even years to come.
Craig, we're actually, starting to look at numbers. So according to AlixPartners, this could actually cost, or this could hit world automakers $210 billion in 2021. Is there then a danger that there's going to be too much chip production, or does it change the way that automakers then, produce and sell cars? There's a huge secondhand market now where, cars fetch like a 30% premium.
Right. I mean, we've actually, in today's story from AlixPartners, we mentioned the idea that some car makers, they're so short of cars, even just to show customers that show up to the lot, that they're actually renting cars to sort of feature and allow for people to sort of kick the tires, which is just, something that, is sort of unheard of. In the dozen years that I've been covering this industry, I think Alix's estimates are really sort of reflective of how this has just snowballed. You look back, and in January, they were expecting this to be a $61 billion hit. That became $110 billion in May. Now they've roughly doubled their estimate just in the last few months. So this is a situation where, the industry is, to your point, absolutely going to have to sort of change their approach to selling, but also sort of their approach to their supply chain, where they really need to sort of forge closer ties with the chip companies. We're hearing a lot more about that as well. Just a couple of weeks ago, when the industry staged its first car show in a couple of years, Intel was one of the biggest keynotes. So, this is a situation where the automakers are sort of used to working with, the likes of Bosch and ZF and Faurecia, but they're absolutely going to have to, sort of make the semiconductor companies more, put more emphasis on those relationships going forward.